Hi. A key skill we need in order to be effective is the ability to tell the difference between our interpretations and reality. Reality is fact-based. It's tangible, measurable, demonstrable, provable, objective. So if I said the temperature outside is 28 degrees centigrade, that would be an example of a statement of reality. I can prove that it is 28 degrees. I can take a thermometer out and measure it. Statements of reality are true or false, right or wrong. Interpretations are very different animals. If someone from London came to India and said it's really hot, and I said it's not such a hot day, who would be right? Well, neither, because both of us are talking about interpretations which are subjective and dependent on our respective belief systems. The Londoner has grown up in a place where the average temperature is 16 degrees, and he's formed some beliefs about what's a hot day, what's a normal day, and what's a cold day. And I've grown up in India and formed my own beliefs about what's a hot day, normal day, or cold day. So we look at the same reality, which is 28 degrees, and he calls it hot, I call it normal. Asking who's right doesn't make sense because statements of interpretation don't fall in the realm of right or wrong. So I can't say to him, no, you're wrong, it's not hot, because his statement is not a statement of reality. I can only say things like, I don't feel hot, or I'm not surprised, India must feel hot to you, or let me turn the AC on. Now, this may seem painfully obvious, so why are we giving you this example? Because this is a cognitive error we make all the time. We don't distinguish between our interpretations and reality. For example, after a client meeting, if one of my colleagues came to me and said, I felt you were a little aggressive with the client, is that a statement of objective reality or his subjective interpretation? It's an interpretation. So I can't say, no, I wasn't aggressive, as if he's made a wrong statement. His statement can't be wrong because it's not a statement of reality. Typically, here is what happens when we receive feedback like this. We'll say, no, I wasn't aggressive. They'll say, yes, you were. And we'll say, no, I wasn't. And we keep arguing for the whole day and never find the right answer because there is no right answer. It's an interpretation. And so we don't know how to listen to feedback for starters, but in general, we don't know how to listen to different views. When I receive feedback like, I felt you were a little aggressive, I can't say, no, I wasn't. What I can say is, I didn't realize that I was coming across as aggressive to others, or which words sounded aggressive to you, or I feel like with this client, you need to be aggressive because if you aren't, he walks all over you. I can say any of these statements except, no, I wasn't aggressive, because his feedback is a statement of interpretation and not a statement of reality. When we think our interpretations are statements of objective reality and that we are right, we think that anybody who has a different point of view must be wrong. Not just wrong, but delusional. This prevents us from seeing multiple legitimate perspectives, which is required when we need to make complex strategic decisions. Now, the interpretations we have depend on our belief systems. So if someone says, you made a mistake, and my belief system is, people who make mistakes are stupid, what I'm going to hear him saying is, you're stupid. That's not the reality of what he's saying. The reality is, he's saying, you made a mistake. My interpretation is that he's saying, I'm stupid. If I had a different belief system, for example, that everybody makes mistakes, and if you make a mistake, you understand what went wrong, fix it, and move on. When he says you made a mistake, my interpretation would be potentially, good thing he pointed it out to me so I can correct it quickly. And my response would be, thank you. Interpretations are neither true or false. They are helpful or unhelpful. Helpful interpretations will produce effective choices, and unhelpful interpretations will produce ineffective choices. Therefore, developing the ability to choose the interpretation that serves you best is an absolutely vital life skill. If your mother keeps reminding you to take care of your health, do you interpret it as, she doesn't think I'm mature or responsible enough to take care of myself? Or do you interpret it as, she cares for me and wants to check if I'm taking care of my health? If your boss says that he was disappointed in the proposal that you sent to the client, do you interpret it as, he's questioning my capability or my effort? Or do you interpret it as, he believes I'm capable of doing a better job? Neither option is truer or falser than the other, but one will help you respond in a way that is more likely to give you the results and relationships you want. Initially, it's not easy to choose an interpretation that serves you. The first interpretation that gets generated will be automatic, created by the beliefs that you've built up over a lifetime. But when you notice your emotions, if you're consistently feeling angry or frustrated or anxious, that's an indication that you might have picked an interpretation that is not going to help you. And as soon as you become conscious of your emotion, you can go back and pick a different interpretation. Here's an example. Let's say you're driving to work and you're late for a meeting. And there's an old lady driving very slowly in front of you, blocking the road, and it's making you even more late. At that moment, you might have the automatic interpretation, she's making me late. And the emotion it will create is impatience. Maybe you honk your horn angrily. This interpretation could be generated from your belief that if you don't maintain an impression of professionalism at work, you'll be a failure in your career. And that's going to create stress in situations like this. But as you notice your emotion, you might ask yourself, what would be another interpretation? And you might suddenly notice that the woman looks like your mother. And the interpretation you might have is, she's so brave, learning new things at this age. I wonder if I can teach my mom. And suddenly, instead of feeling angry at the old lady, you might even feel protective of her. Nothing has changed in the reality of the situation. It's the same car, the same person, same meeting, same delay, but everything is now different. The lyrics are the same, but the tune is completely different. Now, changing an interpretation like this will take a lot of conscious effort. But if you change your beliefs, the interpretation that is automatically generated will be more grounded. So instead of the belief, if I'm late, it'll affect my career, it could be, always be on time when you can be, but if you're late once in a blue moon, it's okay. You're good at your job, you'll make it up to them. There are two kinds of statements when it comes to reality and interpretations. Statements of reality are called assertions. They are passive and neutral. Statements like, this is a fan, this is a table, or New Delhi is the capital of India. Statements of interpretation are called declarations, and they are not neutral. Statements like, I love you, I forgive you, or I'm smart enough, or I'm good at networking. These are not neutral statements. They will change the way you feel about yourself, the way you feel about others, change what you feel is possible, what you're capable of. It'll change the outcomes you produce. So part of this journey is going to be about becoming more conscious of the difference between reality and your interpretations. Seeing if the interpretations you're choosing are helpful or not, and choosing a new interpretation if they are not.